Hello and welcome to the Redox Connection, where we discuss about our extraordinary, beautiful bodies and what we can do to take responsibility and care for our overall well-being. I'm Liana, and I just love inspiring and assisting people tap into their full potential, body, mind, and soul. And with us today, again, thank you, is Dr. Ray Dixon from beautiful Phuket. Dr. Ray is a naturopath, chiropractor, and one of the world's first redox educators. We've just covered briefly in the video, which we do invite you to look at before looking at this video, on generally the topic of what the immune system actually is. So Dr. Ray condensed some information in only a few minutes to give you an outline of just how important the system is in our bodies. What we would like to do today and now instead is just discuss what happens when it goes wrong. And what we will be talking about is autoimmune diseases, this word that we're hearing more and more about. Dr. Ray, guide us further.
Hello, everyone. It's nice to be with you all again. Thank you, Liana. Autoimmune disease is fascinating because it's the other end of the equation of the fascinating immune system. So when we talk about the systems of the human body, we look at normal functioning of that system, and then we look at what goes wrong with that system, which actually is the topic of human disease processes, or traditionally called pathophysiology. Is normal gone wrong? I used to say it. So autoimmune disease, look at the name, autoimmune. It's implying something's going wrong, particularly with disease on the end, because your immune system, as we described in the last session, is attacking normal healthy cells instead of attacking what it was designed to do. Now, in the last lesson, I talked about the first line of defense, the second line of defense, and the third line of defense. That third line of defense is actually also called specific. It's a specific immune response. So what does that mean? Well, it means it is specific. It means a recognition has to occur about something abnormal that shouldn't be inside the human body. And then antibodies from B lymphocytes or cytotoxic T killer lymphocytes are alerted to the fact that something should not be there. And they then specifically make antibodies and cytotoxic T killer lymphocytes very specifically to target that thing that should not be there and kill the cell compromised by that. Now, if you imagine when they are taught that something is wrong, which is by the T helper cells, which is another lymphocyte, both are activated to build massive armies of attack. Now, when I say massive armies, the world's military fails in comparison to the ability of the human body to make trillions of these killing antibodies, also known as immunoglobulins, and cytotoxic T killer cells. So now imagine a misunderstanding has occurred. So your body thinks that shouldn't be there, but it really should, and it's you. So what if you then build, and this ability to build armies is constant, or we would all be dead. Now imagine you're constantly building a military against healthy cells. That is autoimmune disease.
Right.
Now, it doesn't matter if it is to the thyroid, as in Hashimoto's thyroiditis or Graves' disease. It doesn't matter if it's to your joints in rheumatoid arthritis or systemic lupus erythematosus. You know, it doesn't matter if it's your gut lining with ulcerative colitis, inflammatory bowel diseases. Your immune system has misread, and that is a whole another topic for another day as to why does that occur. It gets very complicated. Some known, of course, is it's got it wrong. And then all of a sudden, the messaging is sent out to make these massive armies of attack against healthy cells. And it doesn't matter what your autoimmune disease is, that's what's happening. You are attacking your cell.
Wow. Apart the fact that it's extraordinary, as you were mentioning, how the lines of defenses are so strong and powerful. And yet when that goes on, is there a way that we can fix it?
Sure. I mean, some of the reasons, I will mention some of the reasons that we know or we suspect as to why the body fails to recognize correctly or interpret correctly. Well, they're all the things that we normally talk about that affect your health. So again, unfortunately for the ladies, there's a slightly higher incidence in females of autoimmune diseases. Almost every higher incidence in females. There is one, ankylosing spondylitis, which is slightly more common in males than females, but almost all the others, it's more in females. Now, they don't know the exact reasons for that either. Sex hormones are obviously in the equation. But, you know, there's no doubt that if you're stressed and you're not sleeping well and there's autoimmune disease in the family or whatever, all these stressors, there's no doubt that they can summate, and then the immune system misunderstands and starts to build these attack armies against oneself. So there's no doubt that if one is healthier, one suffers less from autoimmune disease. So again, we never lose sight of the big picture.
The bigger picture.
The collective things. You know, it's also believed that, for example, you can have a virus, and some of the protein components of that virus might be somewhat similar to some of the proteins in your normal healthy cells, so that you cross-reactivity, it's called, where all of a sudden your body builds the army to attack that virus, but some of that protein structure is similar to some of yours, and all of a sudden that army is attacking you. Right. So that activity from infections leading into potential autoimmune disease for some is also on the horizon as a possible cause of autoimmune disease. I mean, you may see some people become unwell with varying infections, including the more recent topical one, and then end up with autoimmune disease.
Right.
Yeah. And remember, also stress, remember. So you've also got all these other factors, fear and stress, and coming into play. But the bottom line is the immune system is malfunctioning. It is not functioning in its normal way, and it's now building armies of attack. Now, interestingly, to answer your question, what might correct that?
Yes.
It's really fascinating. From a medical perspective, they haven't got any of it. They basically use anti-inflammatory corticosteroids, immune-suppressing drugs, because remember, it's your immune system that's attacking you, so why don't we suppress it? Well, can you think of a potential few problems that might come from that? Like rogue cells, like you get more infections. Because if you're suppressing your immune system, well, yeah, you may manage a little bit that autoimmune disease, but you're also compromising health in other ways. That is all proven, by the way. That was in pathophysiology textbooks, which I taught from. So this is not, you know, an extreme statement at all. In fact, one of my patients almost died when he was on Brexate to reduce his rheumatoid arthritis. His psoriasis went. He was very happy. That's another autoimmune disease. And his pains were much less, and he ended up in hospital 2 weeks later and nearly died from an infection. So this is now from a natural healing perspective, giving the body what it needs to heal itself perspective, which is where all of the herbal treatments and the vitamins and minerals and nutritional therapies come into play. They provide the body with what it needs to heal itself. In a nutshell, that is part of naturopathic philosophy. Right. Comes under the topic of vitalism, if anybody wants to look that up. Well, the most I've ever worked with that gets the body recalibrating and realizing, hang on, that's wrong. Stop building those armies of attack, which therefore would mean that autoimmune condition is reversing. It is Redox. It's the Redox supplement that comes in that blue bottle behind me. And there is a gel. It comes in the white box that you can barely see. But that's a gel that works on the outside, the drink you take internally. And that is actually a bio-replenishment formula to replenish the depleted and imbalanced redox signaling molecules that have occurred in your body with disease and stress. So essentially bringing back up and putting into balance those redox molecules, and they collectively are known as affecting or are part of the redoxome. The redoxome regulates the genome, the DNA, and I've seen extraordinary corrections in that malfunctioning immune system regarding autoimmunity more than anything else I've ever worked with that supplement.
Brilliant. This is so encouraging and inspiring, because when I was doing a bit of research on the autoimmune diseases and what it is, and obviously I'm going, okay, can we cure from it? Can we recover? And no, the answer was always no. Everything that I found was like, no, we can manage it, but we can't reverse it. And I'm very happy to hear that the technologies are going around, studies are advancing, and new fields of science are opening up, that there are ways that if we approach in a holistic way, working with our bodies, then we actually supporting our own lines of defense. And that's just amazing and fascinating. Okay, so we've touched again on just another huge topic. Try to condense it in 10, 15 minutes. We'll come back to this, because I'm sure out there's a lot of people that are wanting to know more about it. So I encourage you all to write, comment, send us your feedback. Ask us exactly what would you like to know more about, and we are more than happy to include it in the line of episodes as we go along. For the time being, I just want to say thank you, Dr. Ray. It's always a wonder to listen to you, and I'm going to listen over and over to what you've said, because there's so much information, precious information there, just in a nutshell. And to all of you, we just want to remind you, healthy you, healthy cells, healthy you, happy you. So carry on following us, and be well, and see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.